you can't help it. We're all empathic, right? We're picking up the field, and so a lot of times that can throw us off. And so we want to go ahead, go live on Facebook as well. We want to go ahead and shake that off and arrive in our own bodies, our own energy, and be open and receptive for the message that will be delivered today so that we can fully take advantage of this time and nourish our souls, our minds, our emotional body, and our spiritual body, and really feel like fully receptive and leave refreshed. And that's the goal, to leave
Mhm.
better than we arrived. So okay, let's go live on Facebook. Okay. So, okay, so we have a few more people coming on. Let's give it another minute. And here we are. Okay, we are live on Facebook. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for the latest edition of Healing Conversations. Today we have Chrissy Patton. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Chrissy Patton, all the way from Canada, joining us. I met her down in Costa Rica in one of my travels. Um, I don't know if it's okay to share, but uh, I don't know if I came up with, I think you came up with the name. You said, I'm going to call me Bliss from here on out. And I love it.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
right? It really embodies the energy that you bring, embracing your bliss, embracing your authentic expression. And you talked about like what you wanted to do back then. And I'm so proud and inspired by what you're doing. You wanted to create a retreat. And here you are. Your
Yeah,
retreat is about a month away, right?
less than.
Wow. And
Yeah.
so, what an inspiration to all of us, like speaking what we want to create and bringing it to reality. And here's
Yeah.
Chrissy, someone that did that just less than a year ago. And here you
Mhm.
are, less than a month ago, living your dream,
Yeah.
creating what you wanted to manifest. Like, wow, inspiration. So before we get started with an introduction, I want to just invite everybody to join me just in a very short grounding meditation. If you're driving, do not close your eyes, but if you're in a safe place where you can close your eyes, I invite you to close your eyes for a minute here with me. Take a deep breath, hold it, and embrace yourself. Release the breath and say, I love you. Take another deep breath, hold it, release the breath, and say, I accept you. Take another deep breath, hold it, release the breath, and say, I'm doing the best I can. Now open your eyes. And let's arrive here now. To be present. To introduce you to Chrissy. Chrissy is a yoga and fitness instructor. She's also a Soma breath facilitator, which is somewhat like the short meditation I did. It's based on a yoga practice. It's also based on holding the breath. Maybe I didn't describe it quite completely, but maybe Chrissy will dive into that a little bit during her introduction of what she does. And so it's meant to bring about overall health and wellness, to feel better, basically, to like if you're not in such a great state, breathing is actually intentional breathing is actually a good way to change your state, to change your mood. She
Hmm.
also is, as I mentioned a few times, she's a retreat creator. Excited about that, hearing more about that. And she is a guide, helping people be their best versions of themselves. She's coming out of Canada. She is passionate about her work of facilitating transformation through various modalities such as movement, breath, self-inquiry, mind, mindset shifts, and travel. Her life changed when she dove headfirst in her practice 13 years ago, and she started teaching shortly after that, and it has been her passion for the last 12 years. She will be bringing two of her joys, yoga and travel. So excited to hear about that. And as I mentioned before, she has a retreat coming up in less than a month in Nicaragua. And that's something that she manifested literally this year. So we're happy to hear about that. So without further ado, Chrissy,
Hello.
uh,
You'll have to excuse me. I got a terrible cold last night, so I'm not at my best today. I'm just barely surviving. But yeah, my name is Chrissy, also known as Bliss. Um, yeah, I've been teaching yoga, as we said, for it'll be 12 years in March, and it's my absolute passion. It literally saved my life, changed my life, and I knew pretty much instantly that I wanted to share that transformation with others. And almost 12 years later, here I am. I've kind of taught a little bit all over the world. I taught in Vietnam for a little while, in the Caribbean, kind of living my dream there for a bit. And now I'm back here in Canada for a while. And yeah, leading my first, well, technically second, but my first official yoga retreats with my company, and I've organized it all and created it all, and going to be taking an amazing group of people down to Nicaragua for the Dream Yoga Retreat at the end of November. I'm really excited about that. Can't wait. What else would you like to know?
um, just it's basically, sharing the journey. The topic of our talk today is the power of embodying who we truly are to help
Mhm.
manifest the life that we want, right? So take us on your journey. What got you there? Like, I know a lot of times as I was before you got on the call, I was saying that the energy of this week is that I was feeling is this feeling of being stuck in a season of
Mm,
our lives, and
mhm.
how what this space is for is to help us gain perspective, to realize that there are other seasons just like in nature, and we're able to
Yeah.
shift out of a season by simply shifting our perspective. So what got you to this space of embodiment?
Well, it's been a long journey to get here. I struggled with like depression and anxiety, a lot of depression my entire life, very stuck in like limited thinking, limited beliefs. Just, yeah, depression is just like the best way to kind of frame that. And it's really only been like this last, I'd say, year and a bit that big transformations have started to happen. And really, the theme of this year has been to embody. It's it's one thing to think a certain way, but it's a whole other thing to really live those beliefs. And that's what this last year has been for me, really embodying what I've come to believe. Like my mindset has really shifted from a place of negativity into like abundance and possibility. And it's taken a lot of work, a lot of tears, a lot of just back and forth to really get myself to this place. And I understand like that being stuck in a place. I know that feeling very well. Um, but it really just comes down to taking the action, the scary action, the uncomfortable action, and really standing guard, as Robin Sharma says, standing guard at like the gate of your mind, because it's so easy to just let the negativity in, to let the fear in, to let the lack and scarcity mindset in, and it will take over if you allow it. And for me, it's really been about no longer entertaining thoughts when they come in, and just choosing another way and choosing it over and over and over. And it's something that you have to do. You have to choose every single day. You have to be really intentional with the thoughts that you choose to think, the words that you speak, the actions that you take or not, what you choose to read, what you choose to listen to. It all has an effect. And I don't know.
Right.
And like up here in Canada right now, I know things are a little bit crazy in the States as well with your guys' election coming up. But just like the energy here in Canada with our government is very, it's very lack, it's very fear. With inflation going on, it can be really easy to get caught up in that narrative. Like, oh yes, like you should be afraid, you should be feeling lack, you should be feeling scarcity. Things are expensive, therefore life's going to be hard for you. And not denying that things are challenging for people right now. They 100% are. But if you continue to feed that narrative, if you or you continue to live in that fear, in that negativity, that is what's going to manifest for you every single time. And one of my biggest fears when it came to doing this retreat was, well, what if no one signs up? What if they can't afford it? What if I can't afford it? What if I lose the money? What if this? What if that? And at a certain point, you just have to say to yourself, this is not how I'm going to live. You can live how you want to live. You can choose to be caught up in the fear, in the mentality of lack and scarcity, or you can choose that it's going to be a different way for you. And when you make that choice, when you say to yourself, I will no longer live in fear, I will no longer live in scarcity and lack. And when you make that choice, life transforms before your very eyes. And that's really what I've discovered in this past year is when you start to live from a place of abundance, when you start to live from a place of possibility, abundance shows up, possibility, like the doors of possibility fly open, and the realm of possibility is endless, but we just have to be willing to see it, to be open to it.
I agree 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in scarcity. My whole family,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
mom's side, my dad's side,
Yeah.
scarcity, limited thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and I was not encouraged to pursue any type of career, not pursue
Mm-hmm.
any higher education, not do anything other than basically a religious upbringing to basically talk about the Bible. And so
Yeah.
all of a sudden, for me, it was a whole new world opened up of possibilities
Mm-hmm.
when I started real estate, for example, and that opened actually I was a paralegal, and that opened up the doors. Oh, maybe I want to be an attorney. So reaching for those possibilities, and
Mm-hmm.
then being a realtor. Well, like most realtors were struggling, but yet I don't know. I embraced abundance, and I saw other people in the energy of abundance, and being so empathic, I was able to see how that works, and boom, here I
Mm-hmm.
am now doing this
Yeah.
instead of basically enjoying life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. All possibilities are open in the field. A lot of times we're focusing on scarcity. Boom. Then all we see is scarcity and all we experience is scarcity. I grew up very poor. My first 5 years was my grandpa's converted garage. I lived in
Mm-hmm.
low income housing with a single mom. And basically, then my mom remarried. Then I saw a little boost in lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
but still, abundance wasn't a thing. So I feel
Yeah.
like for all of us, what is it that we're focusing on? Because what we're
Mm-hmm.
focusing on expands and becomes our chapter, our
Yeah.
season, our entire life, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I so appreciate the message that you're bringing to us today.
Yeah. Yeah. For absolutely. Same with me. Like, grow up always hearing, we can't afford that. I remember being a kid and my parents being like, "Oh, we're poor," and I'd be like, "Don't say we're poor." Like, I hated them saying that. But even though, like, I still continue to grow up thinking that, money is evil and money is bad and money is hard to make, and that's been a long process of moving through. And really, really shifting my mindset, not just saying like, oh, I want money and money is good, but really believing it, really embodying those beliefs. And again, like that takes time. I've had, like, I'm 43 now, so I've had, I don't know what, 35 years at least of believing those lies. And so it's obviously it takes a long time. Well, it can take a long time, but it also can't, to really shift the way that I thought. And what I've come to know is that, and it's a tough truth to take in sometimes, but we are the ones standing in our own way. It's not the economy, it's not our parents, it's us at the end of the day, which kind of sucks sometimes, but at the same time it's freeing, it's empowering when you're like, okay, I'm the one standing in my way. Let's maybe consider getting out of my own way and see what's possible. And honestly, when you get out of your way, you just step to the side, great things start to happen. But again, it's a process. It's choosing that every single day. And some days it's great, and some days it's not so great. Like this, the past couple of weeks for me have been really challenging. But yeah, you keep making that choice over and over and over.
So you mentioned you've dealt with an anxiety and depression, and then
Mhm.
you were able to keep guard at the door, so to speak, and be very mindful of what you chose to entertain, the
Mhm.
thoughts, the emotions, and not creating paragraphs, chapters in your life, but really shifting out of that. So what brought
Mhm.
you to that awareness? You know, for all of us on the call, that we may be dealing with the same stuff. You know, we may be anxious about the future, depressed, you know, in life, stuck in our rut. What
Well,
was
for me, like
that?
it's become very obvious. Like anything that we eat or drink, it affects us. If you drink alcohol, you're poisoning your body. Like, no offense to alcohol, I drink occasionally, but it's a poison. And if you watch a lot of the news, poison. If you listen to a lot of negativity, a lot of, I don't want to say low vibe because it sounds kind of woo woo, but low vibrational conversations, stories, you can't help but be affected by it. Like I used to love, I was the young kid who loved watching, Pop Cops and Rescue 911 and America's Most Wanted, and I was a little bit dark as a kid. But you feel it. You feel it affecting your mind, affecting your body even. Like my parents, God bless them, they watch hours of, I don't even know, just these shows of people being arrested, like drunk people screaming and swearing at police officers, and it's made them very negative. It's made them judgmental and angry, and it's like they're ingesting alcohol. I'm watching it like literally poison them, and it's really hard, but it's to me it's very obvious. It's very clear that the things you watch, listen to, read, it's a diet. It's a soul diet. It's soul food. And it's really important to be very, very mindful of what you are choosing to let in every day. So if you are caught up in the news, in like, it's one thing, yes, we want to be informed, but we don't need to drench ourselves. We don't need to be drowning in information all the time. And like, I don't watch the news ever, and yet I still can't help but get caught up in it sometimes. So
Right.
it's really important that you get very, very particular about what you look at, what you listen to, the people that you hang around with, the type of energy that you are allowing around you, because it can't help but absorb into you.
I agree 100%. I stopped watching the news probably like 3 to 4 years ago.
Hmm.
I feel great. I realize
Yeah.
how much the news affects you, right? Like I think
Hmm.
the news sells on negativity, and
Hmm.
so not to be ignorant of what's a world affairs, but at the end of the day, what are we feeding ourselves? Like you said, I think that's excellent. I would challenge everyone here too. Also, one of the practices that I took up, not just like what am I feeding, but also what am I sitting with? You mentioned that standing guard at
Hmm.
the gate, like our thoughts.
Yeah.
What are we dwelling on? I would challenge everyone here to start a journaling practice.
Hmm.
Every morning, I did what's called morning pages, where I would
Yeah.
just do a mental dump of everything that's on my mind, then I started to notice, started to become aware, what am I writing
Mm-hmm.
about over and over again? And then I questioned why. And then I started laughing at myself eventually when I realized, wow, how silly am I being? And so that's the awareness. And once we become aware, we can never not become aware. And so then it just keeps expanding the more we accept our expression and not make it wrong, right? At first, I used to make it wrong and be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, wait, I got to change that right away. And then I started to appreciate that's part of the human experience, but I can shift out of that. I can turn the page, so to speak. I can say I'm done writing about that. It doesn't make me feel better. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, I don't want to hold space for that anymore. Like you said, I want to experience more peace, more joy, more flow in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like, besides that, like what got you to the point where, now you're embodying Chrissy and embodying your dreams and like the things that have been wanting to come through you. How was that process for you? What can you share with us? Also, like for everyone on the call, what can they do to embody their authenticity?
Just start to get really clear on like what it is that you want from your life, who you want to be. Like for me, I teaching yoga movement, it for me it's so much more than just a job. It really does feel like a calling for me. And I just feel so lucky that I've found something that I love, and I'm the kind of person that like I feel useful when I am kind of inspiring or uplifting other people. So it's been really great that way. And not saying that like your job has to be like your passion. You can have a job that pays the bills, but then, follow your passions elsewhere. But getting passionate about something, and it doesn't have to just be, yoga teachers aren't the only people who can change the world. You can be a lawyer, you can change the world. You can be a, whatever. You can just be a swimming coach and change the world. You can find ways to help others in every corner of life. And yeah, getting clear on what it is that you want to do. Again, being very mindful of the limiting beliefs that come up for you in that regard, and choosing a new thought over and over and over again. And again, so like I said, some days it's going to feel really easy, and some days it's, you might feel like you kind of didn't quite make the mark. But yeah, just finding out who you really are, what you really want, and every thought, word, and action is in service of that goal of that person that you want to be. And for me, like that's what manifestation is. It's a lifestyle. It's not just something that you do every now and then. It really begins to be just who you are and how you live. I almost feel like manifestation is just faith in action, knowing that we live in an abundant universe, knowing that your dreams, your goals, the vision that you have for yourself and for your life weren't just given to you to kind of torment you, not just to dangle in front of you, but for you to work towards and to manifest in your life, to make real. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. As I hear you say this, the thought came through, what can we do to disrupt, to create disruption in our daily being, our habits,
Mm.
the things that we just do every day, right? Because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. A lot of times
Yeah.
we want change, but yet we keep being the same.
Yeah.
So the word is disruption. Create disruption.
Yeah.
Create disruption. Can we reel it back into who am I? What
Yeah.
brings me joy? What do I want to experience? How do I want to feel? Reeling it back to our authenticity and creating space without the daily going ons that we're so used to, that
Mm-hmm.
disruption. What can we do to reel it back in? And when we reel it back in and create that empty space, then we can set up with ourselves by creating like maybe a daily practice, whether it's meditation, whether it's maybe going for a walk, going to the gym, engaging in activity that we love, where you're just creating space for
Yeah.
something new to arise. Then we can see, okay, maybe I want to do this. I'm passionate about this. This is my
Mm-hmm.
authenticity. This is what I want to
Yeah.
bring about.
Yeah, and starting with gratitude, like just getting really grateful for where you are right now, for everything that you have. Like the fact that we're all here right now just proves that we have more than enough in our life. You know, I'm talking on a phone, I'm sitting on a comfortable bed. Even though I'm sick, I have my water, I have my tea, I'm able to just rest right now, being grateful for everything just as it is now. And letting, like, when you can get really grateful with where you are, with what you have, everything else, it's not that it's not important still, but it doesn't have like the weight. It's not like you're not living in that lack, like, oh, I don't have that car. I don't have my Jeep yet. Yeah, no, I don't have my Jeep yet, but I do have a car that gets me where I need to go. And you start to notice that when you start to get really grateful for what you have, more just starts to flood in. At least that's been my experience lately, is the more grateful I am for where I am, the more abundance I start to see in my life. And again, it's like saturating yourself. Like for me, if I'm driving in the car, I'm listening to like an uplifting podcast. If I'm going for a walk with my dog, I'm listening to my podcasts. So I'm getting very intentional with the information that I'm feeding myself. And then taking aligned action from there, just letting your thoughts, your words, and your actions match up with who you want to be, with what you want to see in your life.
And it sounds like what you're describing is a progression, right? It's a desire that wants to come through, and then you're creating a structure. You're creating
Mm-hmm.
steps, gratitude practice, for example.
Yeah.
But not to shift too much out of what we're talking about, going back to our theme, the power of embodying who we truly are and helping us really manifest our what wants to come through. Some of the things that you're involved with is yoga and fitness instructor. You're doing soma breath facilitation.
Mm-hmm.
You created a retreat. Can you share with us how that has been instrumental as far as like your transformation where you're at now and embodying
Yeah.
your true expression?
Well, for me, I see like movement, breath work, sound healing, which I'm also getting into as well. It's all like a form of healthcare. Like I can't wait for the day that we call it healthcare and we start to treat it as such. And like with the breath work in particular, I remember I found this style of breath work at Envision, and I was on cloud nine for like 3 days afterward. Like at the end of this workshop, I was laying like in this little warm puddle on the ground for a good 20 minutes afterwards. And movement and breath and sound, it's all about like literally shifting your energy, like making you happier, more at peace. Like it's not just this woo-woo-y thing that we talk about. Like it's literally science that when you move, when you breathe in a certain way, you can't help but those good chemicals flowing into your body. And from that place, like it's a natural antidepressant. And from that place, you can't help but feel more peace, more joy, more ease, more flow. You can't help but see more possibility in your life. And so that in that way, when you really dive deep into those practices, everything else kind of starts to fall into place. And a lot of my depression, in my case, from my own perspective, was coming from not pursuing the things that I truly wanted to do. Like the retreat thing had been on my mind for years, like literally years. I'm like ashamed to say it's been a very long time in the making. I'd say like almost 10 years that I've been wanting to do this on my own. And I've struggled with depression for all that time. But as soon as I started to kind of shift my perspective around it, like maybe I could do this. And at the end of the day, even if it didn't happen, even if I had to cancel because no one signed up, at least I tried. And you never fail when you try. It might not always work out the way that you would hope or want, but the fact that you tried at all is a raging success because so many people sit back and are too afraid to take any sort of action because they're afraid that it's not going to work out. They're afraid that they're going to fail. And fail is such a word. Like what is failure anyways? The only failure I see is if I were to go another year and not take action. And that was not an option for me this year. I'm like, I'm not doing this. And it's been rickety, I'm not gonna lie. Like I've been learning as I'm going, and I still have a lot to learn and a lot of things to really put in place, but it just kind of goes to show you that it doesn't have to be perfect. I hate the word perfect. Perfect to me is a dirty word. It doesn't have to be, but for this case, I'll use perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect in order to be successful. Like I have so far 7 people coming, and for me, like that's amazing. I'm so grateful that it's happening, and I'm really excited for the group of people that are coming down. It's such a beautiful group. I know that it's like I people who are coming have already told me of transformations that they've been experiencing just since signing up. So for me, that just like warms the cockles of my heart because what that's exactly what I want to hear, and it's going to be really good.
The energy that I felt, as you expressed all that, a lot of times the body is, again,
Mm,
I don't, I'm using the word perfect, but it is perfect. It's always alerting us. It's always talking to us. A lot of times
mhm,
we don't listen.
mhm.
And that's what I hear you saying. Depression, anxiety are really the body telling us, hey, notice.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
speaking to us. A lot of times we view it as a bad thing, but I was taught to view everything as simply feedback,
mhm,
an
mhm.
explorative approach to life, and be scientists with life, playful with life. And I know it's maybe taking a little too light with anxiety and depression, but what if we started to recontextualize the way we view sickness, illness, and simply view it as feedback?
Yeah,
What am I putting off? Am I not living my full expression? Am I not embodying
mhm,
to be expressed through me? Is that not sickness? Am I holding something that is time to let go?
yeah,
So if we viewed it that way, transformation, healing,
yeah. And like Roberta just said in the chat about feeling embarrassed, I agree. I've kind of felt that way as well, and I totally agree that things happen when they're supposed to happen, and it's not on the timeline that I want. And when I think about it, I'm like, why? Like, why didn't I do this? Yeah, like 10 years later, 15 years earlier. Why did I not find yoga until I was like 31? When so many people that I know, they found it at 19 and they're, making 6 figures at 21 and now they're a millionaire at 30. I'm like, oh, I didn't even find this path until my 30s. But things happen when they need to happen. They happen when they're meant to happen. And the people that I'm meant to connect with and hopefully when, coach and mentor and help along this path, I wouldn't have found them then. I'm finding them now because this is where we're supposed to meet. And as frustrated as I get sometimes, wishing that things could be different, that I could have started this path a lot earlier, that I could be farther along, I also believe and trust that I am where I need to be right now, even though I want to stomp my feet sometimes. And I'm like, but I don't want to be here. I still just trust. And even with, say, like Envision, for example, I was supposed to go to Envision Festival last year, but with COVID mandates in the States being what they were, I wasn't able to get on the plane because I'm unvaccinated. So I ended up not going to Costa Rica. I ended up going to Mexico. And while I was in Mexico, I met someone who just this year became my business coach and mentor. This year at Envision, I met you and now we're here and I found Soma Breath and now I am doing my training through them. So in hindsight with certain things you can look back and be like, oh, okay. Like I see now that it was all kind of like a divinely put in place, even though last year, like I was questioning my existence and the existence of God in life because things weren't working out the way that I'd wanted them to. And now in hindsight, I'm like, okay, it makes it makes sense now. It's all good. So just trust.
right? I firmly believe that we're right on time. We're not a second late. We're right where we're supposed to be,
Yeah.
as there's no way to be. Like life is in the moment always. It's never some future date. So wherever we're at is perfect. Like I always use the analogy of like where this masterpiece being painted. You know, you're not gonna paint it all white and call it a masterpiece. There's gonna be dark colors. There's gonna be light colors. There's gonna be
Yeah.
shapes. There's gonna be a contrast. And so it
Hmm.
is with life. Just like nature, right? Look at
Yeah.
nature. Look at the vast diversity, colors and shapes and forms and life, animal, plant, things that we're not even aware of. We only
Yeah.
have our senses, but there's so much more as we're learning through science that exists that we're simply not even aware of
Yeah.
the richness. And so we're right on time. We're
Hmm.
doing it
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
We're successful already. And so I feel like everything is, it happens. Our greatest weaknesses become awareness and our greatest strengths and gifts to each other. That's what
Yeah.
I've discovered. And
Hmm.
so thankful to have you sharing your journey. Now, can you speak a little bit about embodying like these dreams, your true authenticity? Like, can you take us on that journey? Like, what can we do to get there?
Well, it's just about making the choice. Like I say, as I'm teaching, for me, embodiment is just really just walking the talk. And I would talk a lot in my classes about, stepping forward, stepping into the fear, stepping into that realm of possibility. But I realized that I truly I wasn't doing that. I was still holding myself back. I was still listening to the limiting beliefs inside my head and letting those beliefs, letting those other people's words truly run my life. And when it comes down to it, you just gotta decide what it is that you want and start to take aligned action. And embodiment is simply action. So doing the thing you want to do, you want to start that business. All right, then let's go. What are you going to do? Like, what's the first little step that you can take? It's action. Start start to take those little steps forward. And it just doesn't have to be huge. It can just be one small little thing, making that phone call, looking up a business coach, looking at, if you want to buy a house, do you have the money? Starting that savings account, starting whatever it is to get yourself just that one step further. And that becomes who you're going to be. Each step that you take is embodying who it is that you want to be over time.
Right. Can everyone hear us? Somebody made a note on on the chat that they can't hear us. Can everyone hear us talk? Okay, looks like it's just maybe Jennifer that can't hear. Okay, perfect. So we're good. Just doing a mic check. So can you describe what that one first small step was like for you? Did you have like I know for me it was imposter syndrome. It was fear. What will people think? All these thoughts, all these fears. What was that like for you?
um well, I mean, you just have to move forward regardless of that. My first step was, it was a bunch of things. No longer no longer believing, again, what I said, like the thoughts inside your head. Imposter syndrome is always going to come up. And to be honest, like you want to feel imposter syndrome. If you feel imposter syndrome, good. Good things, that means that's a good thing. That means that you're on the right track. So really shifting your mindset around stuff like that as well. Like if you're feeling the scaries, if you're feeling the imposter syndrome, amazing. Good. You're on the right track. And yeah, it's just stuff like that. Like let yourself like still move through the fear, move through the discomfort, move past those limiting thoughts as they come up. You don't have to believe every single thought that pops up in your head, and you'll be better off questioning everything that pops up and then just taking the steps forward. I had to put a deposit, say, for example, on my retreat. It was a big chunk of money that I had to put down. And if the retreat didn't work out, I had to be okay with losing all that money. And it's just little things like that. Just move through the fear. The fear is going to be there. Like it's always going to be there in some way. It's going to pop up every now and then. And that's normal, that's natural. Everybody feels it. Just reminding yourself of that it's okay to feel the fear. Everyone feels it. It's okay to have those limiting beliefs. Everybody has them. Just keep going.
And I would add to that that
Hmm.
the way human is expressed is through survival consciousness. We're designed to survive.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
body itself, we
Yes.
don't tell it to heal itself. The body naturally heals itself unless we do something to impede the natural process of it healing. Also, thoughts happen. Thoughts happen to protect us, to keep us alive. It's called survival consciousness.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
this, we're in this comfort zone. Anything that's not in the comfort zone, danger, danger, no matter what it is.
Yeah. It's a
That's why,
we have the negativity bias where the brain will naturally look for the negative, the scary things to keep us safe. Like our lizard brain doesn't care at all if we grow and transform. All it cares about is that we just stay exactly where we are, safe and comfortable.
right.
Survival is its only goal.
And so when we are able to be thankful the way we're designed, that it's
Hmm.
simply doing its job, these thoughts, right? It's trying to keep us safe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's trying to keep us safe from dangers that do not exist.
Hmm.
So the awareness is to be able to say thank you for trying to keep me safe, but this is
Yeah.
not, I'm not being chased by a tiger. I'm
Yeah.
perfectly safe now, and I'm able to take inspired action
Yeah.
to bring about the life that I want, to manifest the things that want to come through me, creating that alignment, taking that little baby step, whether it's writing down, that's powerful. This is what I want to do. And
Yeah.
taking a little small step, like for you, what a big step, the deposit, for a
Yeah.
retreat. It'll be
Yeah.
different for all of us.
Yeah. And I really had to embrace that protector in me. She was very strong and she did a very good job of keeping me safe. But
Mhm.
the keeping me safe was stifling who I could be. But it really just came down to being like to embracing her, thanking her for her service. But it's like it's time for you to take a break. Like go have a seat. I got this. I got this. And just doing that over and over again. Embracing her when she comes up, like, okay, I feel you, I see you, I appreciate you, but we're okay. Like I got this now. I got this. Bliss energy.
There you go. Good shift. I would also challenge for those of us here that are in this stalemate with life, that are getting weighed down with the energy of not really embracing what our true expressions and going after the things that we want to experience and the feelings that we want to have on a daily basis, is to bust that negative protective side of ourselves, our survival consciousness, by writing a worst case scenario. One of my mentors helped me to basically go through a series of steps. Matthew Ferry, very thankful for the guidance that I got from him. When we embrace, okay, so our mind says, you do this, danger, 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 and then you say, okay, well, what if I do that, and what if it is true, danger, danger, that this and that will happen? Go make an exercise of a worst case scenario. If I do this, then this will happen, this negative thing, and then what? Like get balance with that worst case scenario. Because a lot of times the mind makes it sound way more scarier than it is. But when we really
Yeah.
sit with it, then we say, and then if that happens, and then what? And then go through the exercise. Like, believe me, I've done it a few times, and my worst case scenarios weren't even close.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really feel the mind is so delusional and making up all these worst case scenarios. It's like ridiculous. So
Yeah.
it
There's
erases your awareness, right?
there's a
Another
great
thing, yeah, there's another thing that we could do is there must be some sort of attachment, right? So if we're getting scared of something, like we're scared this, we're gonna lose some sort of benefit. So like looking at it, like what is this attachment that wants to keep me safe, and like really look seeing what's underneath this fear. Oh, is it a childhood trauma? Is it my inner
hmm
child that's scared? A lot of times it's that we're operating through the perspective of a 4 or 5 year old,
yeah.
right? We're not really operating through the perspective of our current expression of this age.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a great quote that I heard recently. I'll try not to butcher it. I think it was fear is a mile wide and an inch deep, where it looks like this vast ocean, but really it's just like boop, like it's really not that bad. And then also asking yourself, like, what is the cost of not going after what you want? Because that was a big one for me. What is the cost of not going after your life, the dream that you want, regardless of how it turns out? Like, what is that going to cost you? I don't want to get to the end of my life and look back and say, "Oh, why didn't I just try, even try?" And there's another great quote, something about, if you shoot for the moon, if you miss, you'll land among the stars, something like that. And it's like, even if you don't hit exactly, you don't quite get what it is that you wanted, you're still going to land somewhere amazing, somewhere you probably never thought that you would. The transformation you're going to go through is gift alone is amazing on its own. And like,
As you say all this, thought came through. Our goals, many thoughts always come through, but our goals are really, there's no difference between ourselves right here and our goals. We're an expression of our goals.
mhm,
You said this many times, alignment, getting aligned with our goals. So
mhm,
our goals are already there. Who we want to be, what we want to accomplish is already there in front of us in the field. It wouldn't be there as a possibility if it wasn't meant for us.
mhm,
How
yeah,
powerful is that? If we started to believe, wait, I am that goal, that life I want to have, it's within reach. It's
yeah,
already there. It wouldn't be a thought if it wasn't a possibility that is very attainable. And so, what can we do? Maybe these are some of the questions to sit with. You said this many times. What can I
mhm,
do to align myself with this goal? What small step can I take today to bring me 1 inch closer to that goal? And then watch the quantum leaps. There may be setbacks, and that's okay.
yeah,
What can we do to guard our thoughts? You mentioned this many times, to not dwell on the setbacks, on the negativity, on the, you call it the lizard brain, the survival mind, to say thank you. Thank you for the fear, but this is not that. And to shift our perspective out of that and stay focused on what wants to come through.
yeah,
I feel like we're also blessed. We are blessed. Look, we're here right now. We're alive, already blessed.
mhm,
We
yeah,
have goals that are inspiring us, already blessed. What can we do to remove that fear, those
mhm,
clouds impeding us from really seeing clearly that that is attainable? And then come to things like this and listen to guidance, get perspective.
mhm,
That's how we grow. You mentioned podcasts.
yeah.
I
Just
believe that,
saturate yourself.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And what I've discovered is the thing that we truly want is often found in the pursuit of it. Like, for example, you want the job, you want to go on the retreat, you want the car, you want the house. Yeah, those things are great. But what I truly want is, who I'm going to become on the way to that goal, what I'm going to feel, that sense of accomplishment, that sense of excitement. Like, it's the pursuit, it's the journey that is really the true gift. It's the transformation that you get on the way to the thing. Like, who do I have to become in order to get that thing, do that thing, get to that place in my life?
I love what you just said. It's the same thought. It's not about the destination, but the journey. And the gift of life is always in the now. Whether you're doing something, you're not doing something, can we just simply reel it all back down to this moment? What can we do in this moment to align to what we want to become? And not make it so that the satisfaction is, yay, attaining that goal, because there will always be another goal. But how does that feel in the right now as we are journeying through to that goal? I really feel that's the message that you're delivering, right? Oh, you're muted. Oh, still muted. see if I can.
There we go.
There you are.
It was saying host not allowing me to unmute.
Oh, sorry.
And yes, agreed. And yeah,
Right.
like what Roberta said, having like those supportive circles and communities during the journey, huge. Yeah, yeah, definitely. If I mean, you can. Sometimes I felt like I've had to do the journey alone. But even like I consider things that I watch and things that I listen to as part of my circle when I haven't had like the people around me to support me. I've had like those messages coming in from these teachers as like a form of support.
Right. I really feel that we are the medicine for each other and we're gifts to each other if we just pay attention. But I also agree with what you said. Like, what are we feeding ourselves? Who are we surrounded by? Is this
Mhm.
something that aligns with our goal? That's been something that I've been reflecting on too in my journey. And I find that the more people I align that are like doing stuff like this, the lighter and better I feel.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's seeing that contrast. But
Yeah.
we're down to the wire. And so we've got a little
Mhm.
bit over on our time. But I do want to open it up for questions. If anybody has any comments, any questions for Chrissy or I, anything you want to express, whether it's on topic or not on topic, this is a space to be heard. You could just start talking or raise your hand. Maybe you're trying to get somewhere, you have a goal in mind. Maybe you have a question like, what can I do? Or what's blocking me? You know, we can feel that out. So before our call, I'll just make a quick comment. Maybe, oh, here we go. Some Alex. How do you define the difference between anxiety and fear? You want to tackle that on Chrissy or?
I would say it's the same. I think anxiety, I mean, in my case, anyways, anxiety was a lot of fear of is the best behind me? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Who am I going to be? And another thing when it comes to anxiety is on the flip side of anxiety, it's excitement. When you're feeling that anxiety, when you're feeling that fear, I think they are kind of one and the same. Can you turn it? It's the flip side of the same coin. Anxiety brings up the same feeling as excitement. So if you can shift your perspective around things in that way, getting excited for something as opposed to anxious or scared about it, it can shift your perspective on that.
I love what you just said. I feel like anxiety is an expression of fear. And I do feel like everything there's two sides to every coin. Excitement along with anxiety is imbalance, right? Boom.
Mhm.
A balanced, neutral, functional state. Neither is, from this perspective here, neither is good or bad. They're just simply different expressions, feedback. Like I said, can we view everything as feedback when we feel any sort of way? What is that showing me underneath? Why am I fearful? Why am I experiencing anxiety or am I experiencing excitement? Right? Is an attachment to an expectation, perhaps. We could talk about stuff like this for days, but okay.
Mhm.
Oh, hold on. Looks like Vicky. Okay, asked to unmute. Let me see here. So Josh dropped off the call. I'm not quite sure. I guess he muted everyone. But if you have a question, you can either raise your hand and I'll see if I can figure out how to unmute everyone here. So Vicky, did, were you able to unmute yourself? There you are.
Yeah, there I am. I just wanted to say I really needed the reminder that we all have to actively participate in changing our
Mhm.
mindset. I
Yeah.
get into those funks and I'm older now. I'm in my 60s, been out here looking
Mhm.
for a job and all that. And like you guys said, when you decide this is where I'm going, this is what I want, and start putting steps out there, as scared as you may be,
Mhm.
as you start taking those steps and changing that mindset, doors are opening. I'll be starting a
Yeah.
job on November the 11th, 11
Woo.
11. And
Congrats.
it was like, I stopped putting all that negativity out there and letting the negativity flow into me. And I I can't be happier. So thank you guys.
Awesome.
Thank
you.
you for help remind me.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's it.
Awesome. It's exciting.
Another comment, question, you could either raise your hand or put the comment in the chat. So, Chrissy, I would just say to recap. Oh, looks like, oh, you're muted again. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. So,
Got it.
Josh is my unmute guy, but anyways, we figured it out. Yeah. So, yeah, I was gonna say, Chrissy. So, to kind of recap our call, what would you say, um, in regards to our theme, which is the power of embodying who we truly are? What would you say is one or two things that we could do to embody and really embrace our power and get empowered with our lives?
I think first thing is just get clear on what you want and who you want to be and where you want to go. So clarity always is very helpful. And just start to take those small little steps, like just one little step, and you gain confidence with every step you take. You gain more and more in confidence with every step you take. You embody more and more of who you are, of who you truly are, and what you want to be. There's clarity and action. I'm always taking little actions, and then when those voices do come up, tell them where to go and how to get there. like let's just we'll all just say I'm done listening to this negative voice. I'm done believing that these things are true because they simply are not. And what's the worst could happen? You prove yourself right. Good things happen. Let that door just be wide open for you. The more you kick it open, the more open it's going to be.
I love that. Can we just be more open? Can we have a short memory? Can we let go of our stories that limit us? Can we reparent our inner child? Because a lot of times we're operating through these fears, through these traumas, and this anxiety and this depression arises because, we're really not embracing our authenticity. We're not really being alive. We're a little defragmented in our expressions. So we could talk for days really here on subjects like this, but we're limited to an hour. I so appreciate you, Chrissy, for being our guest speaker and engaging in such a
Thank you.
full conversation today. I think it's so helpful to bring some awareness, right? And also I would remind everybody, be compassionate with yourself.
Yes.
You're right where you're supposed to be. Create this space.
Yeah.
I'm doing the
Be
best I
patient.
can.
Be patient. Things take some time to change on the outside. So if you feel that shift inside, just keep going, keep going. Things will
You're
start to
here,
shift.
and that already shows something. It
Yeah.
shows that you're already taking steps.
Yeah.
We all are. We're right on time. I would like to just close it out with another quick meditation, super short, just to kind of help us, again, fine tune, digest everything that we just went through. I invite you to close your eyes. Again, if you're driving and not in a safe place, do not close your eyes. But if you're in a safe space, let's close our eyes and take a deep breath and hold it. And with that breath, breathe in the suffering. And with the same breath, release the breath and breathe out loving kindness. Now open your eyes. So thankful to have you guys here. Appreciate you guys. I feel great. I always feel so uplifted every time we do these things.
Yeah.
I hope you feel the same. That's really my intention, that we'll feel a little lighter. We'll get a little perspective. We feel better. And we're able to remember that you're not alone. we're also connected, really. We're not isolated. And this is a space where we can witness that and be a part of that. And there's so many other things out there that we can be a part of, not just this. So thankful that you made this time for yourself and thankful that you uplifted me and we all uplifted each other. I really do feel that we
Yeah.
are gifts to each other and medicine for each other. So thank you, thank you. Thank you, especially Chrissy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Well,
everyone.
best wishes on your retreat next month.
Thank
So
you.
excited for you. What an inspiration.
Thank you.
Um, Thank you.
And
All
thanks
right.
for today. Bye.
Ciao. Love
Bye,
you guys.
everyone.